Ahead on KGW News at noon, a former security guard found guilty of rape is sentenced a decade after committing the crime. Plus,
we've become rent slaves and our disposable income has been taken from us.
With rent prices soaring, Portland residents struggle to make ends meet. Ways you can maximize the bang for your buck. And later,
you do feel like you're in a special place when you walk across the bridge.
Sherwood's newest edition looks to connect the community. Your news at noon starts right now. Well, first we begin with breaking news out of Clark County. Northeast 134th Street near Salmon Creek Avenue in Salmon Creek is currently closed right now because of a water main break that's flooding the road. Now, this is a live look at what it looks like right now, and you can see most of the water has dried up. Clark County Fire and Rescue has the area blocked off while Clark Public Utilities works to fix that pipe. Now, here's what it looked like before. You can see in these pictures a ton of water on the sidewalk, and the sidewalk has also been torn up in a spot where that water was. They encourage people to plan a detour around 134th as they don't have an estimate on when that street will reopen.
I've been here since day one, and I had to see him go in handcuffs.
Our top story here at noon. A former security guard found guilty of raping a woman on the job 10 years ago has been sentenced to more than a decade in prison. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'm Corey Johnson. Now, we want to warn you the details in this case are disturbing. The charges against Daniel Lewis Casanelli stem from 2015 while he was working as a security guard at Portland's downtown Rite Aid. Court documents show Casanelli accused Marianne Stott of shoplifting. Now, he then took her into the store's basement and raped her. Marianne Stott spoke with us after the sentencing, saying today's decision will finally allow her to move on with her life.
I have a lot of anger towards him and what he did to me. But today I can let all that go, the anger and hate, I can let go and just work on myself.
Now, Casanelli was arrested in 2022 after the case was reopened thanks to the Sexual Assault Kit Initiative grant. Casanelli was sentenced to 200 months behind bars. He will also be under court-ordered supervision when his jail time is over. John Adams will have a more in-depth report coming up on KGW News at 4. Now, if you or someone you know is in need of help, the National Sexual Assault Hotline is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That number is 800-656-HOPE. That's 800-656-7637. Now, in just the last hour, we've learned Jimmy Kimmel Live will be returning to stations owned by Sinclair Broadcasting starting tonight, including here in Portland. Now, the company owns and operates nearly 40 ABC stations and had kept the late night show off its affiliates since its return to the air on Tuesday. The move follows Kimmel's temporary suspension by Disney-owned ABC following comments he made about the murder of conservative activist Charlie Kirk and President Donald Trump's MAGA movement. Now, we're taking a live look from our Rose City camera. A beautiful Friday on tap. The weekend officially here. Let's get a look at your weekend forecast with meteorologist Chris McGinnis.
Corey, there's not a cloud in the sky in that shot.
Beautiful.
And there's near a cloud in the sky here either. This is a live look from our Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera in Lincoln City. It is beautiful at the Oregon coast right now, 58 and clear. We'll take you out to Oregon's Veterans Home in the Dalles, 70 degrees there with a very light breeze at this point. And over downtown Portland, as Corey showed you on that other sky camera, we are clear. 62, last check at PDX. And the plan for the rest of our Friday, we keep the sunshine and we'll tack on a few degrees. So highs today climb into the low 70s. Should be a gorgeous finish to the work week. Getting into the weekend, tomorrow sunny, or I should say tomorrow warmer with some filtered sunshine at times. And then Sunday, we'll start to see some clouds creeping in. I still think the weekend looks great with intermittent cloud cover, but all in all dry and pretty nice. And then we get into this part, the rainy next week. Now, this isn't the end of like days of nice weather, but as we go to next week, there are several opportunities for significant rain, and we'll dial in on those coming up in just a few minutes. Corey, back to you.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, more national news we're following this afternoon. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee says additional federal agents will arrive in Memphis next week to focus on crime. At a news conference this morning, the Republican said 13 federal agencies, including the National Guard, will arrive in phases. Lee added that National Guard members will not be armed and won't make arrests unless local law enforcement officials request it. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump has once again alluded to sending federal resources to Portland to stop ongoing protests at the ICE facility on the South Waterfront.
Take a look at Portland sometime. These are wild, these are crazy people, and they're trying to burn down buildings, including federal buildings. And on my list of things that I want to do before we finish up with the cities, because I think we're going to whip the cities back into shape, and we have to. We cannot let our cities, and that's a small example, but it's the most violent example. It's every night, and they've done it for years.
The president also claimed that many of the protesters at the South Waterfront are paid agitators. The FAA is once again allowing Boeing to certify the safety of some of its own planes. This applies to their 737 MAX and 737 Dreamliner. Previously, the agency revoked Boeing's ability to issue airworthiness certificates, this after deadly crashes and quality issues. Now Boeing will be able to issue the certificates on alternating weeks, with the FAA picking up the remaining weeks. The agency says it will still oversee Boeing's production process. And those are your national headlines. Well, in the fall season, the rental market slows down just a little bit, making it a little bit easier to find a place to live and rent. Despite that, some Portland renters are feeling the squeeze as prices climb. Now, I spoke with Zillow experts who say rising costs are forcing renters to make tougher decisions, from cutting back on extras to searching farther from downtown in order to rent compared to 5 years ago. For Portland resident John Kelly, how much he pays in rent each month is top of mind.
We've become rent slaves, and our disposable income has been taken from us, and it's not going back to anything.
Kelly has lived in Southeast Portland for the last 4 years in the same apartment. He tells KGW this year his rent will climb to $1,900, up from $1,300 he paid when he first moved in. The city's rental code allows landlords to raise rent by 10% a year without penalty. Renters like Kelly say that protection isn't doing much to ease the squeeze. Now he's relocating farther away from the city.
Between the utilities and the increase of the cost of the rent itself, you've basically made it so, like, if 10 years ago I bought a $300,000 home, for utilities and total mortgage, I wouldn't be paying as much as what I'm paying now.
In Portland, the average one-bedroom rents for about $1,530 a month, with an average size of about 645 square feet, according to Apartments.com. Pre-pandemic, that same $1,500 could have landed closer to 750 to 800 square feet. That extra footage enough for a small home office or living area that renters simply don't get now.
What we're seeing in Portland is that the typical rent is $1,730 a month. Now that's up 22% from prior to the pandemic. And the income that you need to be able to afford a rental in Portland is now more than $75,000. It was about $60,000 prior to the pandemic.
So why is this happening? Housing experts point to a mix of inflation, high demand, and slower wage growth that's contributing to the problem. Zillow Home Trends expert Amanda Pendleton tells KGW wages aren't increasing as quickly as rent prices. But there are a few ways you can still find the best bang for your buck if you're looking for your next rental.
We know that you're not going to have a lot of leverage to negotiate on the rent itself, but you can ask for a free month of rent or free parking or reduced pet fees. 45% of all rentals in the Portland metro area are offering some type of concession right now, so this is a pretty reasonable ask.
Zillow experts say rent increases are impacting renters in other major cities as well. Nationwide rent prices are up 35%. So the Rose City is actually doing a little bit better than the nation as a whole. Well, 15 Starbucks locations across the state, including 5 right here in Portland, are set to close. Now, yesterday, the company announced it's closing 1% of its coffee shops nationwide. They're calling it significant action to turn around its struggling business. The company also says it plans to lay off roughly 900 employees as part of that plan. Here's what one customer who frequents the PSU location had to say about the closures.
It's kind of sad because I know that a lot of people at my school really enjoy coming here. It's pretty sad to see that option being taken from them, but I also do know that there are a lot of independent coffee shops around the area that I think will appreciate the support a lot more than Starbucks, a multi-billion-dollar corporation, will.
Now, for a full list of which stores are set to close in our area, make sure to check out our article up right now on KGW.com. And we want to again remind you that if you or someone you know is in need of help, the National Sexual Assault Hotline is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That number is 800-656-HOPE. That's 800-656-7673.